All right, let's pull up Gasch'S team and let's make sure we read it out loud for the people listening on the podcast.
Oh, beauty right there.
All
All
right.
right, so I'll start going. So I have Matt Ryan in goal. I went with him. I really tried to focus on having a 4.5 million set forget keeper this season, and it was between him and McCarthy. And I just I'll touch on it a little bit later, but Matt Ryan's my keeper in there. My starting three in the back are Kyle Walker-Peters, Andy Robertson, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. I was debating this, and I decided to go with the Liverpool double up. I really like the guaranteed point potential there. And then Kyle Walker-Peters is my first of three Southampton players I have in my team. Is 4.5 million, a really good option at the back. And Southampton have good fixtures to start, so I was really happy there. My midfield four are Souček, Aubameyang, Salah, and Armstrong, and I'm captaining Aubameyang this week with Salah as my vice captain. Souček was the 5.0 million. Tough fixtures at the start, but he has potential to get forward and score a decent amount of points, which is why I have him in there. And then Aubameyang and Salah are my two premiums in midfield. I think I need too much of an explanation for either of those guys. Constantly in the Golden Boot race, and they're both, really leaders of FPL teams everywhere. And then Armstrong is a player for my second of three Southampton players, so you can tell I'm kind of high on Southampton with this team. But he looks really good post restart, and very creative. And I think with feeding Danny Ings up top, he has a really clinical finisher that he can kind of lean on to create chances for. And then my starting three forwards are Che Adams, Timo Werner, and Mitrovic. So Adams is my third of three Southampton players. He's a 6.0 million. That started a lot more games post restart than he had earlier. So I think he'll be the second striker for their system there, kind of like a 4-4-2 almost. And he looks really good and very sharp post restart, so that's why I decided to keep him in there. And then Timo Werner is my premium striker. I'm really excited to see. Well, I'm not excited to see what he does as a United fan, but I am excited to see what he does as an FPL player with him on my team. I think he's a really clinical finisher, and he can make a difference for Chelsea. And then Mitrovic was someone I owned a few years back, and he got off to a pretty good start that season, if I remember correctly. Maybe the first 10 game weeks he was doing pretty well. So glad to have him in there. And then my bench is, at least relatively straightforward for the first game week. I have Walton, who is going to be battling Matt Ryan, I believe, for the number one spot. From what I've seen, he's going to be the number two to start. But, I just really wanted, in case Ryan gets hurt, to have the next Brighton keeper in there. I have Ayling from Leeds, 4.5 million. He seems pretty nailed at right back, and Leeds signed another center back, so he shouldn't have to shift into the middle. And then I have Greenwood and Taylor. Greenwood is my Man United cover, blanking first game week, so I have him on the bench. And Taylor is my Burnley defense cover, also blanking, so I have him on the bench.
All right, looking pretty good. Are you trying to take somebody out for KDB a couple weeks in?
Yeah.
Is that like in your mind?
Yeah, I think so. We'll probably touch on that later in this episode, but my plan, I don't want to take out Aubameyang to KDB. I'm selfish and I want KDB in there while keeping Aubameyang and Salah, but it looks like it'd have to be one of those two guys moving.
One of them, yeah,
to make room.